Well, this is a Fox News alert. Earlier this morning, I spoke exclusively with Governor Andrew Cuomo, who's, of course, running in that high-stakes mayor's race against Curtis Sliwa and against Zohran Mamdani. Well, I asked Governor Cuomo, what's your pitch to Republican voters? After all, he has to win Republican voters in order to overtake the Democratic Socialists. But the tried and true Republican in the race is Curtis Sliwa. He says the two are one and the same. Here's what Governor Cuomo said his message to Republicans is.
Curtis Sliwa is not an alternative. He is not a viable candidate. You vote for Curtis, you may as well vote for Zohran Mamdani directly.
Joining me now, host of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton show. They join me now. You know, Buck, I got to be honest, this is a hard one for Republicans. Curtis Sliwa is a great advocate for safety in the city. He's no doubt the Republican in the race. But at the same time, you know, the message from Cuomo is a vote for him, is a vote for Mamdani.
Yeah, the only option here where you feel like you're at least adhering to your conservative principles is obviously Sliwa. But Sliwa's not going to become the next mayor of New York. I hate to say it, but it would have to be like an asteroid hitting the world-level shock for that to occur. So then you're left with, what do you do? And this is where I have more bad news. You know, Kayleigh, half my family still lives in New York City. Clay, of course, is going to be over there grinning while New York gets what it votes for and gets it long and hard, unfortunately. But half my family's in New York. I grew up in New York City. And it hurts me that Cuomo and Mamdani are really the only viable choices based on the polling. They're both awful. Cuomo was a terrible governor. You were very polite and very professional to him just now. He was as bad on COVID as anybody in America. He was terrible on the jailbreak bill. So will he be better than Kami Mamdani? Probably. A lot better? I don't think so. So I'm really concerned about my hometown of NYC.
Clay, my dad always calls you the realist, and you just laid that out in a very real way. You know, Clay, it is tough. Look, I was in the White House, President Donald Trump's press secretary, and I remember Governor Cuomo giving those COVID press conferences, and then Donald Trump would give his, and they were always both in the same day, kind of back to back, and they took very different approaches, one respectful of civil liberties in the former President Trump, and the other not so much.
Yeah, look, they gave Andrew Cuomo a special Emmy for those presentations. Then they had to pull it away when he was forced to step down for sexual harassment allegations. Not, by the way, for unfortunately sending thousands of people to their death in nursing homes and helping to handle COVID, as Buck just said, almost worse than any governor in America. Here's the problem, Kayleigh. I got two suggestions. Curtis Sliwa has to drop out. He has zero chance of actually winning. I understand that people want to be principled and vote for him, but at some point in time, you have to recognize reality. If he stays in the race, then Mamdani is going to win. All right. Now, here's something positive that's going to make Buck a little bit upset because he hates when I say it. But I actually think this could benefit the Republican Party, because then Mamdani becomes one of the faces of the Democrat Party alongside of AOC as we move into the midterms. And while New York City may be forced to drown in despair over their awful life choices for mayor, the rest of the country could benefit, and we could have a bigger majority in the House and the Senate potentially than we already do, all thanks to the voters of New York City making awful choices when it comes to mayor.
So pursuant to your second point, let me reacquaint our viewers with someone who you might also have to become familiar with again, unfortunately. His name's Jamal Bowman. He might have lost his race, but he may be back.
Yeah.
Watch this.
Hold on, why you turn that off? Keep that going.
Atomically,
Socrates' philosophies and hypotheses.
can't define how I be dropping these mockeries.
And to get big money out of politics. I am the hip-hop congressman. We are going to show AIPAC.
Bucky, of course, also pulled the fire alarm. But the reason I play that is because I was reading a piece from Joel Klein, who led New York City public schools for 10 years under Bloomberg. And he said that there was a rumor earlier this summer that Zohran Mamdani would have that guy in charge of our children.
Oh, my God.
Look, Mamdani would be a nightmare for New York City. And while I certainly can't grin the way Clay does about just voting New York City off the island of civilization for the rest of the country's benefit, I think that the truth is that Andrew Cuomo would be something of an upgrade, at least on public safety. He was terrible as governor on that issue, but I think he did learn a lesson because it was so disastrous. If he is capable of learning a lesson. I'm not sure that that is the case. But as for Jamal Bowman, look, there's a new era we're entering now where if you can make enough noise online and if you can leverage social media effectively as a politician, whether it's AOC or Bowman or Mamdani for that matter, you can create your own momentum and with it perhaps the beginning of your own movement. So I'm still hopeful for New Yorkers that there'll be a happier day after Election Day. But I do think that this is going to be, unfortunately, a big time of learning for a lot of us about how bad can Mamdani be, because I think the best thing we have going for us if he becomes the mayor, rather the best thing New Yorkers have, Kayleigh, is that he is so incompetent at managing and has so little experience that maybe he won't even be able to do a fraction of the things that he says, but the things he says he's going to do are going to make everything worse. So that's a challenge. That's not good.
Clay, I just have a few moments, but my dad texted me that you guys want to be on The View, apparently, so maybe you can't write off New York City just yet. Is that true? Because I would pay a lot of money to see you guys on The View.
We actually reached out to them, Kayleigh. July, our producer, Allie, for the radio show, said, my guys will come on. You were talking about how you wanted Republican guests. They haven't responded. She then reached out again after Joy Behar said, hey, we want to have Republicans on, but they're scared of strong women. And we said, hey, we're very comfortable with strong women here. We're happy to come on with you. I'll be in New York City. I'll watch the city, unfortunately, make the awful Mamdani choice, and I'll be happy, along with Buck, to go sit with the lovely ladies at The View and even bring Alyssa Farah Griffin her own MAGA hat, since she pledged she would win one if Trump brought the hostages back.
I got to be in the front row for that one.
Kayleigh, can I just tell you, Clay is buttering up The View. He keeps talking about how great Joy Behar looks for her age. I'm like, Clay, I don't know if that's going to do it for us,
I love her.
But I like where his
She's
head's at.
fabulous.
I love that attempt at flattery. Let's just say that is not truthful, but it is very flattering. All right. Thank you, Clay and Buck.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.